Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we are currently ready to deploy. So let's see what we've got going on here. I mean, we've got this against Steiner. I mean, we're in a better position to go against Steiner now. So maybe that's not the worst thing. There's no free priority salvage here, so just straight down the middle. Now we run this ambush convoy mission. I think it's okay. Let's do it. It's decent pay, and that should all be fine. We should also now be able to deploy the Trebuchet as well. Who do we want to put in that? We've got Coach, we've got Gorgon, and we've got Romeo. So, I mean, we could take a look at all of these stats and try to min-max it. I generally don't. This guy has +1 tactics, sure. I mean, we've got +1 bonus health, recoil, OP accuracy. This is not all that great for a fire support pilot, for sure. Thanks, Windows. Apparently my computer's running low on storage space. I think you're wrong about that, to be honest. Yeah, you kind of are. Okay, well, we can ignore that for the moment. That'll be absolutely fine for right now. And at this point, the question then becomes, who do we want to have in this? Well, the answer is, of course, Romeo. Except he can't. He is vehicle only. So that's, you know, unfortunate. I think in that case, it really doesn't matter. Maybe we go for Coach just because of the, no, these are terrible. Okay, I'm just going to slot Gorgon in here, and we're going to go. So let's do this. That'll be fine. The Black Knight's underweight. Darius thinks this will be tough. He's probably wrong. This will take a moment to load, so I am certainly going to cut that out. I will see you guys in just a moment. Okay, so here we are all loaded up, and let's take a look at what we've got going on here. We know there's going to be a convoy, and we know there's going to be guards. So the convoy is inbound, and that's our designated evac position. Okay, so we do have allies. I don't really care about that, though, to be honest. So convoy's evac point is here, and the convoy is here. Or at least that's the intercept point. I think setting up on this ridge is absolutely fine. Convoy's probably up over here somewhere. Actually, probably taking, like, this road down, right? So setting up on this ridge seems absolutely okay to me. We can just get our fire support up in here, and we can run at them around here and around here with our other vehicles. So that all seems okay. I say vehicles. We only have the one vehicle. So, what do we got?
Our target is within sensor range.
Oh, wow. So we see a Nidhogg, and an Ifrit over here, along with a Copperhead for the local government allied lance. That's a lot, actually. Over here we see a Firestarter and an Enforcer. That is a convoy escort unit there. That's along with a Rifleman and a Phoenix Hawk. And then this is the convoy itself. Okay. So at this point, I think that our Centaur absolutely heads out over this direction.
Roger.
And that'll be fine. So these heavy bombers are potentially going to do a lot of work for us here. That's a very impressive lance that they have there. I like it. I like it a lot. So our hoplite can definitely just kind of stay where it is, to be honest. It can position about here and brace. That's okay. It's in cover, and it'll have a clear LOS on this firing corridor. So I like that. I like that quite a lot. Another Nidhogg moving up over here, and next up is our Apollo. The Apollo has a reasonable firing corridor here as well, as is. And as these guys approach, it will have a better firing corridor. So I'm going to leave the Apollo where it's at as well, for the time being. Next round, we'll probably want to get a little evasive on them, but once we've cleared some of these units out of here and they can start heading off over this direction, then that should be reasonably fine. The Copperhead parking down over here. Next up is our Scimitar. I'm going to send the Scimitar down here to start harassing these guys.
On the move, full speed.
So that'll be fine. And our Trebuchet, this guy's really going to want to be in cover here, right? The Trebuchet is... What do we have going on here? The Trebuchet is going to be potentially problematic.
Good to go.
Oh, it's actually spawned right inside of another unit. I'm going to reserve the Trebuchet for now. We need to move that other unit first. So that's okay. I didn't realize it was spawning inside of a unit. That's not supposed to happen, of course. So next up, we'll see some of these guys moving forward. Yep, a Phoenix Hawk taking position up here looks good.
I'm here.
So the Black Knight is absolutely going to head out this direction.
Understood. Moving fast.
We want to keep this firing corridor fairly clear, right? So that's going to be the plan. Next up is our Wraith. That's also going to come out this way. We'll see where that ends up engaging. But for now, this will do. So next up is going to be the Firestarter. That's probably going to come in over here and look to, like, engage the Scimitar. Heat damage is good against vehicles, so we'll see what it does. Of course, everybody's spawn protected right now, so there's not a whole lot to be done on that front. I think that the crossbow is sufficiently armored that it can just position up on this ridge and brace for right now. That APC moves forward. For the moment, that's fine. And the Shadowhawk is going to also take up a position somewhere out over on this road. Here seems absolutely fine for the moment. That Rifleman closes in a little bit, and how much evasive does that Rifleman have? It looks vulnerable to me. 4? That is quite vulnerable. Okay, so these vehicles are closing in, and the vehicles are really going to be a high priority target for our Centaur, as well as for this cluster of units down over here. The Trebuchet, I think, is fine where it's at, and it will just brace for the moment. Although we might want to swap it and the Apollo eventually. So, for the time being, the Centaur is going to run up into... We can get some rear arc here. Unfortunately, we can't... Oh, we can get rear arc on that Rifleman. This is an incredible position here. Look at all of those rear arcs. We can't get this Prowler, unfortunately. But, wow. I'm thinking we go for the Rifleman here. This is almost a guaranteed kill.
Giving him everything I've got.
Kaboom. One dead Rifleman. And we might be able to salvage that guy. That was a really clean kill. I like it. Next up, we'll see what our allied Ifrit decides to do. Hopefully it doesn't drop these mines. That could be potentially problematic. But I'd like to see it come in and drop bombs on the rear arc of this Phoenix Hawk. That would be an ideal situation there. It pulls back and does nothing at all. Okay, I'm not going to call that ideal. That is certainly not an ideal scenario. Okay, so next up is going to be probably the Firestarter. Actually, it's the Enforcer. The Enforcer moves up, fires on the Shadowhawk, immediately gets through the structure there.
Armor breach. Internal damage.
Okay. In this torso, that was a lot of damage all right into that torso. We didn't take any damage anywhere else. So that's definitely spooky. Let's get the Scimitar into, like, rear arc over here. This is rear arc of the Firestarter, and I'm going to fire on that. We could kill the Firestarter here, but it's unlikely. We took out a jump jet anyway and broke through the rear armor.
That hit something good.
So that's okay. Next up is going to be this Nidhogg. I'd like to see the Nidhogg move out here and go against that Firestarter right now. That would be the ideal situation. I doubt it will. The Shadowhawk doesn't move until phase 9. And that means that the Firestarter is potentially capable of doing significant damage to the Shadowhawk. It did move correctly, but it went for the Enforcer then. I mean, it did one-shot the Enforcer. So we'll take that. But I would have preferred the Firestarter, to be honest. The Firestarter moves now, and the danger here is it moves up over this way and goes for the exposed structure on the Shadowhawk. So if we lose that, what's in this arm? Chainsaw? And the MRM-20. Okay, that would be difficult to replace. But I mean, ultimately, it's just bad luck, right? So, like, how are we supposed to predict that it would get all 3 of those shots clustered in like that? It does go for the Shadowhawk. Luckily for us, everything
hit,
there
Commander.
had armor. It didn't actually hit into our internal structure. It did get a head hit, so hard case took an injury there, but that is fine. I don't actually mind that. So the hoplite, I don't love its positioning here. I'm going to move it out over this direction because we need a better angle here. So we can fire on this APC, or on this APC, or on this Goblin, or on the Firestarter. Hit odds are about the same on all of these targets, so I'm going to hit the Firestarter as the higher threat right now. Oh, that was a really solid hit. The Firestarter is now unsteady. That was an incredibly solid set of hits there. We really softened up that armor. I like it. We'll see what the allied unit decides to do here. This is going to be this Nidhogg, the UAC-10 Nidhogg. Finishing off the Firestarter would be great. I would very much like that. It did not fire with it, though. Okay, so the APC moves up, fires on the Black Knight, drops a barrage right here, and gets a head hit. That's rude.
Commander.
Okay. Well, our Apollo, for the moment, can likely step forward over here and go for the Firestarter here, I think. Yeah, I'm going to go for the Firestarter. That's a knockdown on the Firestarter. Excellent. It'll take some internal damage from that, I think, but it's definitely not going to die. So the APC moves up here. Also goes for the Black Knight. Okay. For the time being, that is fine. Next up is our Wraith. To that end, I kind of want to go after one of these guys. So I'm thinking this APC for right now. We do a punch because of height here. It's not ideal, but we'll see what we get done here. That rear arc has actually quite a lot of armor. We did manage to hit the punch. The punches aren't great, though, for us. But we do get some rear arc damage there. Okay. So next up is going to be that Prowler, and they're just going to continue to move in here. They're firing on this Nidhogg, and they're not going to get very much done, to be honest. 12 from 12 hit by AMS. Sounds good. Okay, what do they have next? That is going to be this guy, I think? No, not the Prowler. It's going to be this guy. No, that's a phase 13. It's going to be the Phoenix Hawk. Okay. That's reasonably fine. So the Firestarter is stricken at this point. There's not a lot more for the Firestarter to do. We've almost got them... internal damage there.
Damage critical.
And they destroyed a heat sink. That was a stray shot onto our Shadowhawk right into that same torso. That is such bad luck. We haven't lost anything other than a heat sink so far, though, so it's not actually a problem. That Phoenix Hawk does have to go, and it's exposing itself in an awkward fashion to our Centaur, so that should be fine. I'm going to position our crossbow back over here because of the barrage, and we're going to finish off this Firestarter. I want it gone. Okay, so the Firestarter is out of here.
That's a kill.
Phenomenal. Next up is going to be phase 13 mover, so that'll be this Goblin. And unfortunately, we just haven't been able to react with this Shadowhawk at all, and everything has been hitting it here. Luckily, we did take a couple of laser shots elsewhere. Okay. That was our ally firing with their Copperhead, but the Goblin moves up and goes for the Copperhead. Structure exposure on that, cooling crit, track propulsion system crit, but that's fine. I would much prefer that. Okay, next up is our Black Knight. I want to position the Black Knight out over this direction.
Move order received.
Because from here, we can actually hit all of these with the barrage, and we can, in theory, mostly get out of this. I think our Wraith is going to get hit by it, but we can definitely move the Shadowhawk out. So looking at hit odds are definitely going to be best on this Prowler. Okay.
All weapons are go.
We hit almost everything there, so that looks good. That barrage is going to happen. So next up
Commander.
is our Trebuchet. The Trebuchet has direct LOS on this goblin right now, but the hit odds are really quite bad. Out of curiosity, why are the hit odds so bad? Just target move modifier. Okay, fair enough. And I think we've got some minimum range here for our LRMs. Yeah, I'm aware you're calculating. It's fine. Yeah, minimum range for the LRMs there. So that is reasonably okay. So we could just position it here.
Location
We could fire on that
confirmed.
Prowler, but I'm going to fire on the Goblin. And just soften it up a tiny bit. So next up is finally the Shadowhawk. We need to make sure that it is defended on its right side. So if we position here, we're exposing the left side, right? And they're going to come up over this way. Man, that's going to be awkward no matter what. We could sprint it out over here and turn rear arc.
Good to go.
But yeah, that's going to be awkward no matter what. So that's a fair amount of barrage damage, right? The Black Knight just took quite a bit.
I've got your back.
We can move the Centaur into rear arc of this Phoenix Hawk, and we can probably actually melee it. Yeah, we absolutely can. And we can just hope that we don't have a core meltdown.
Aye, aye.
The Phoenix Hawk is probably dead from this, although I don't know if we hit that melee or not. Can't exactly see. Yeah, we missed it. Okay. But it's still dead. So the convoy guards are now down.
That's one less hospital
Phenomenal.
on the field.
And we've softened up the convoy a little bit here. So who moves next? That is going to be this Nidhogg. So the only remaining targets are these guys, right? The Nidhogg moves over and does what exactly? Goes for the APC and does quite a lot of front arc damage to
Standing
it.
by.
Okay. So the Apollo could position out over here. This is definitely minimum range issues. But I do kind of want to block for this Shadowhawk. So I'm going to position it here and then just brace. Okay. So they have 3 movers this round. We have 2, and our ally has 1 as well. That'll be this Copperhead. So the ally fires on the APC and gets a little bit of damage dealt there. Then this APC moves up and fires on our crossbow. I'm absolutely okay with the crossbow shot.
Light damage, holding firm.
Indeed. And now we have good LOS out over here. So I'm going to position our crossbow here.
Moving out.
And we're going to probably kill this APC here. Oh, yeah. So there's 1 down. Phenomenal. 3 to go. Let's see who moves up next. That'll be this APC. Also firing on the crossbow. I love it. That's really, really good. We want the crossbow to be taking shots right now.
Aye, aye.
Next up, our hoplite can position here and fire on that APC.
Got the end. Taking the shot.
That's a lot of internal damage there. Did we take it down? We actually didn't, remarkably. So that goblin moves up, also firing on the crossbow. I like it. The crossbow can take that damage for the moment. Okay. Yeah, that APC was really close to going down, but it didn't quite go down, sadly. But we might be able to stray shot it, or maybe our ally kills it. One or the other. So the Ifrit is moving up and firing on the weakened APC. And it's down. I like it. Oh, it also mined this area. That's kind of convenient for us, actually. We're not planning on walking through this area, and putting mines in there is good. So they're attacking the Trebuchet. That's fine. As long as they're not attacking the Shadowhawk, I'm okay with it. We did manage to AMS 2 of those as well. So I'd like to, at this point, move our Scimitar up over here. We aren't able to get into LOS, sadly. We'll see what this Nidhogg decides to do. There's still 2 enemies left over here. And it moves away and does nothing at all. Okay, that is very not helpful. Let's position our Wraith in the rear arc of this Prowler. And let's kick it. I don't expect to get too much out of this, but let's see what we've got. Yep, we do miss the melee attack. Oh, I should have turned off the field inhibitor. That would have been smart. So the Shadowhawk, I kind of just want to disengage down over this way, to be honest.
Moving to position.
Let's just make it so that they can't hit it. And
Ready
then
for
we've
order.
got our Black Knight, of course. And the Black Knight, I really do want to deal with all of this evasive, right? So we could just position it like right up over
Got it,
here. We
Commander.
might stray shot our Wraith. So I'm just going to brace. That'll be fine for now.
Let's do this.
And then we've got our Trebuchet here. This is probably minimum range. Yep, we've got a minimum range issue. We can back off a little bit and fire on this Goblin. That'll be a heat issue, but let's
Here we
take the
go.
shot anyway. So a nice rear arc softening. I like it. And now our Centaur's way up here, so it'll have to sprint in, right? And we probably aren't going to fire LRMs here. Nah, we'll just get caught up a bit. Let's see what our ally decides to do. Phase 20 here. Who do they even move? Oh, it's this Ifrit. Okay. That's fine. Internal damage on that Goblin. Right side track crit. The Goblin probably dies just from moving at this point. So we'll focus our fire on the Prowler MTV. Because it'll be moving through fire and mines. So that's going to be very bad for this Goblin's internals. The Nidhogg is going to move over and fire on the Goblin. Okay. The Nidhogg kills the Goblin, but it really didn't need to. I would have preferred firing on the MTV, but whatever. I guess that's fine. So the Copperhead moves up, takes some burn damage, and not much else happens. The Apollo from here is definitely in minimum range. Significantly in minimum range. But we can back off a little bit and at least pot shot the lasers.
Firing from a
Okay,
vantage point.
we got a hit there. We'll take it. Next up is going to be that Nidhogg, and let's see what it decides to do. Oh, now it drops its bombs when we're in melee range. I see how it is.
I'm ready.
Well, our Scimitar can move in over this direction. This is definitely going to be in minimum range of that AC5. So maybe positioning here in the side arc is actually better. We'll have better hit odds anyway. We don't get too much done, but that's fine. So now we'll see what it does. It's going to move up through the flames and through the mines, and it's going to take a copious amount of damage from that. Firing on our crossbow, which is still fine. We don't mind that. Cool. AMS taking down 6 of those missiles as well. So the hoplite can kind of stay put. It's going to be hard to hit in all of that fire, but we'll see what we do. And there we go. That hit with the Gauss rifle. I like it.
Coming in hot.
So we're done. That was not too bad, all things considered. It could have gone a lot worse if they had decided to continue focusing on the Shadowhawk and taking out that MRM-20. Luckily, they did not, and all we ended up losing there was a heatsink. We can definitely replace a heatsink. That's not a problem. The MRM-20, I don't know if we have one in stock. We probably don't. Because I would press that into service right away. MRMs are very good. 1.2 million in terms of our pay there. And, I mean, yeah, we can see we lost a heatsink, and that is it in that Shadowhawk. We took a couple of pilot hits, but overall, not too bad. Do we want to get that rifleman if we can? I don't know that we can. Yeah, we can't get that. We would have to disassemble it and get parts. We could also get these ER medium laser bright blooms, and actually, that's pretty sweet. Maybe the medium pulse lasers as well, but we have 6 of those. So ER medium lasers are great. They're a little higher on the heat, but overall, they're very, very good weapons. 230 engine core. Ferrofibrous armor, though. Ferrofibrous armor is fantastic. So we'll grab that. That would allow us to do a refit on something, in theory. Generic armor, basic cockpit, small jump jet, AMS ammo. We'll keep that around. And we did end up getting 2 rifleman parts out of it, too. So not bad, all things considered. That was pretty good salvage. I like it. We are going to have to replace the heatsink And if we had to choose who we were going to replace with that ferrofibrous armor, maybe the Wraith? The Wraith does have significant heat issues. And the Wraith is kind of mediocre as it is. So we might want to think about a Wraith refit. I think the crossbow is not perfect, but it's in an okay state. The Black Knight would be another interesting one for that, but I'm not sure what we've got going on with the Black Knight right now. I'd have to double check that. So this isn't going to be very much for repairs. 122,000. I guess because of the crits. Get started on that, but let's not repair the Shadowhawk. That's only 44,000. Wow, we took a lot of damage there then. I didn't expect it to be quite that high. But we do need to refit the Shadowhawk here. And that is, of course, going to be this heatsink that needs to get replaced. So we're going to replace that. I'm reasonably okay with the state of the Shadowhawk, so we will put in... Where was that heatsink at? Heatsink. There we go. We'll max out that armor. Perfect. And let's go. There we go. So the Shadowhawk is going to be the top priority here. The Black Knight... That's interesting. The Black Knight is where most of that money is going. What happened to it? I thought that was just armor. Does it already have ferrofibrous? No. I guess it just took a lot of damage in a couple of spots. Huh. Did we not repair the Black Knight at some point? Okay, whatever. Let's get that going. I'm not going to tweak the Black Knight at this time. I think that the Wraith is the highest priority for getting a refit on because it does have a significant heat issue. So let's kick forward and get the Wraith completed. And let's hop in and see what we can do about getting this thing refit because it does need it. It already has ferrofibrous. We could give it endosteel structure, which would be this here. That would free up 2.75 tons. We could then max up the armor, and then we could theoretically put in a pair of extra heat sinks. So it would end up being like a heat sink here, a heat sink here. And then we'd have half a ton to work with, so we could have like an extra half ton of SRM ammo, perhaps. Or we could think about something. I don't know what. Probably a half ton of SRM ammo if we have one. We don't have a half ton. Okay. So that's interesting. No doubt about that. What would we spend this extra half ton on? Well, we've got an FCS standard in here right now. We could certainly go for like an energy accuracy FCS. I think that's a very solid thing for the Wraith, considering we've got the PPC, we've got the lasers. That seems okay. That doesn't help us with our weight, right? But we could toss in an SLDF cockpit as well, and an SLDF sensor. That would be okay. Beyond that, I mean, like a Guardian ECM would be 1.5 tons. Case is a half ton. We could case this down here, actually. Component is not permitted in that location. Okay. Never mind. I don't think we can case... Why is this flickering? There we go. I don't think we can case this because of the ferrofibrous armor, I think. Or just because the endosteel structure is there. So, yeah. We can't use case. So that's fine. I wouldn't want to add mask. We could put in Inferno SRM ammo. I don't love that option. Alternatively, we could think about like upgrading a medium laser to a like small pulse laser. That's a 1 ton. Yeah. If we went to like a medium pulse laser here out over here, for example, that puts us half a ton overweight. We could strip off armor to deal with that. That is an option. How much does a flamer weigh? That's 1 ton? Okay. Yeah, I don't think I like this option. Maybe we just stay slightly overweight here, to be honest. So the medium pulse laser comes off, or slightly underweight, I mean. Half a ton, though, is a lot. If we ditch the ferrofibrous, that puts us 1 ton overweight, and the endo steel, yeah, we can't do that. I really want to find a half ton to slot in here. Like, really badly. A machine gun would be good for this mech, but we don't have a hardpoint for it. I don't think it can go in here, right? Yeah, this is a support weapon hardpoint. Small laser machine gun and flamer, but that's not the case for RogueTech. RogueTech changes what the support weapon hardpoint can do, and I'm pretty sure we can't put a flamer in there. Yeah, that's an energy hardpoint. So, rocket pack? Actually, we could put an AMS in there, but we have no ammo for it. So if we were to put in a ton of AMS ammo, now we're a ton overweight. We could drop a heat sink, but why? Why would we want to? So an AMS isn't going to do the trick. What do we have for support weapons? Just the AMS. So that's the only hardpoint that we've got. I don't suppose we have a slightly different weighted SRM. No. No, we do not. Can't put a rocket pack in here. No missile hardpoints. Yeah, that's rough. I think we're just going to have to be a half ton underweight. I don't like it, but we don't have a good option at this point, I feel like. So we'll just get that good to go. That will improve the raise. That'll just be a flat upgrade, even though we're a half ton underweight. That will just be an upgrade. So that's okay for now. We can just do this. It'll do. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.